welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life Series 16, day number 5. I am also going to be working on Stamp It Like It's Hot. This is a monthly hop that we are given a stamping technique to complete on our layouts. And this month's technique is to stamp with a stencil. Now I know that a couple of the ladies have interpreted this in at least 2 different ways. One is to use a stencil and stamp through it, which would be very cool. The way I interpreted it was to take a stencil and stamp with it. And I have done this technique before using this color wheel stamp. And I pulled this pulled this stencil out because I think it would make a good stamp as well. So I have some pictures of Jasper when he was little. He is playing on my portable clothesline. He thought that that was just what he was supposed to do, so I have pictures of that. And then let me show you Sandy's sketch. This is a really straightforward sketch. I really like it. It's got some, looks like some pattern paper on the edges. It's got a line of photos down the center and some borders along the top. You can do so much with a sketch like this. So I have that, and I'm going to be working with Pretty Little Studios You Are My Sunshine. I specifically pulled out a piece of the cat paper. I've got a bunch of cat ephemera pieces from the collection. I've got some title pieces, some clear stickers, some stars, labels, and some paper that I cut borders from a previous layout as well. Plus this pattern paper, which is a bunch of borders that I feel like I could cut out very easily, and they would be super fun. So I'm gonna pause. We're gonna get started on this, and I will be right back. All right, so right off the top, I'm not gonna be using the star stencil. I decided to stick with the color wheel. This is a box that a recent order from Scrapbook Generation came in, and I'm going to be using it to spray stuff, and so that I don't make a big mess all over the floor and table and, you know, all the fun. So I picked up my reverse tweezers, and I'm just using it to lay my stencil down. I was kind of looking for a stamp block to go ahead and make pressure on my stencil. Instead I used my hands, and I'll show you in a minute my hands turn bright colors. So I'm going to do it a second time for the other page, and you saw that I did a secondary stamp with it. It didn't put a whole lot on the cardstock, which is fine. I'm actually going to be covering up a lot of that part of the cardstock anyway, so it doesn't matter. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and cut down this paper. So I meant to cut it down into 2 4-inch strips, and I didn't. I ended up only cutting, I think, 3 inches. Maybe it was 4 on, it was 4 inches on one, and then I goofed and made a 3-inch one and realized that I needed a 4, so I ended up using the larger piece, and honestly I should have just left it the size that I had, but I didn't. It was 5 inches and I didn't leave it. So now I have 2 4 by 12-inch pieces of that cute cardstock pattern paper from Pretty Little Studio. So my goal is to make sure I don't cover up that stamped image up at the top. The last time I did this, I did it on craft paper, and that looks super duper cool, by the way. And then plus I used a bunch of splatters and stuff, which I'm not going to put splatters on this layout because I end up with a lot of color, and I don't want to cover up any of the color. So I'm going to be using my Versamat to get my photos on here evenly. So they're 4x6s. I printed them with my Picturemate 400. And so all you do is get your cardstock lined up on that 12x12 mat, and then you put the pictures down at the 3 and 9-inch marks, and they're in the center of your paper. So I'm trying to start with where Jasper, and hello, there he is, going to sit right there on my page. Where he's looking at me. He used to get on the staircase and then use the staircase to get onto my drying rack. And of course, he was just a kitten. He's under 6 months old in these photos, and so he didn't weigh very much. I told him earlier today, I said, if you did that now, you would actually break the drying rack because he's quite a bit bigger. But he used to just do gymnastics on this thing, and it was crazy. So one day I just took a bunch of pictures of him doing his little gymnastics. He would get the zoomies at night, and instead of saying zoomies, we always just said that he was our Matrix kitty, you know, like the Keanu Reeves movies. He's bouncing up the walls, doing parkour, and just having all kinds of crazy fun like kittens do. So I'm not going to make you watch me fussy cut this entire border out, but I am cutting out the border. This one is a little wider than the other one, and so I will have to trim off some of it to make them even, and that is great because I can use the other piece that I trim off on the bottom so I can bring some more color down there. I think that it would be really cool to have a bunch of color on this layout, but I don't want to cover up too much of that cute pattern paper. This is a really great collection from Pretty Little Studio. I think it's fun, and I also think it's funny that it's a summer collection, and I really haven't used it for any summer photos. I've used it to create one whatever the weather layout for a hop, and I've used it for 2 now cat layouts, which is kind of hilarious. So next up, I am going to be putting the borders on here, and because I put the borders on foam adhesive on one side, I do want to make sure that I can meet them up on both sides of the layout, so I cut that off at the top so that I can go ahead and cut it off or put it on the other side. The other thing I'm having to do is I'm having to trim just a little bit off the top of this. For whatever reason, this cardstock isn't 12x12. I find that kind of odd. This must have been an older piece that just kind of got stuck in my white cardstock folder. I have little folder vinyl plastic, I don't know, they're not really folders, they're containers that hold my 12x12 paper on my Kallax shelf, and I have cardstock in all of those so that I can dig through my cardstock easily. Now that I've got the foam adhesive on the other side of this border, I'm going to go ahead and attach it at the top and make sure that it meets up in the middle. I love that I can draw both pieces across the top and have all this wonderful color. So I'm titling this You Go Bananas. And the Go Bananas part is a pre-made title from Pretty Little Studio. I thought it was perfect for this because, you know, if you've ever had kittens, you know they go bananas. And that is another little phrase that we've said in the house about Jasper. And so I just thought it was funny. The font that I'm using here, these are Hip Kit Club letters. They're a navy blue scripty font. I've told you in a couple videos ago that I kind of have trouble with these, and it does not end up where I put it here. Off camera, I move it down and kind of over to the left a little bit. I thought I was going to put that sun die cut on this layout, and I decided not to do that. I decided it just didn't go with it. Now I'm going to be cutting down that second border from the top border, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I attach it on one side. I'm not using foam adhesive on the bottom borders. I'm just going to layer those up a little bit, and then I'll attach the other one on the other side as just like I did before, and that way they meet up in the center of the layout. And I'm using this kind of as a base for the one that I fussy cut. And the one that I fussy cut has a banner on it, and so I'm going to cut it right at the banner. I'm going to attach it to the layout right there at the banner so that it looks like it's hanging off that right hand page. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll flip over the left hand page and I'll cut it off and I'll reattach on the other side. I have pulled out quite a few kitty cat ephemera pieces from this collection. I love these vintagey kitty cats that they have. They have little dogs too. I don't have a whole lot of pictures of dogs. I think I have one coming up where Jasper and our golden retriever were curled up on the rug by the front door that you can see in these photos, taking a nap, and I thought that was hilarious, and I snapped a photo. I am only going to be using 2 of the kitty cat ephemera pieces. I pulled out a bunch because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to put there, and I just thought that they're all just so cute. So I just chose 2 that were facing in towards one another on the layout. That way they aren't looking off the layout. I really don't like it when things are looking off edges. I try to avoid that at all cost. Now I'm adding 2 phrases. The one that I just laid down on the right hand side says, "You're one in a melon." And I thought that was hilarious because the title is about fruit, so I just went ahead and used that one. Okay, I got this layout completely done. I'm pretty happy with the way that it turned out. I've got my stencil stamping, and I did Sandy's beautiful sketch, and I used up some really beautiful product from Pretty Little Studio. And I feel like they made this piece of paper and embellishments just for me because I'm always scrapbooking my kitties. And so I've got everything done. I did add a little sticker that I forgot to add on camera, and it says sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart. I'm sure that most of you would use that for your kiddos, but I'm going to use it for this kitten because he takes up a lot of room in my heart, and he knows he's loved, and he thinks it's gross, just like every other cat on the planet. In fact, he's sitting on the other side of the table kind of staring at me like, "Mom." Anyway, so I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. There are 2 playlists below. One is for Stamp It Like It's Hot. It is the full year's worth of Stamp It Like It's Hot prompts. We'll be adding new ones today and again next month, of course. And then the second one is for the 30 Days of Sketches Series 16. That will also be listed below for you to click on and watch everybody do these amazing sketches. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, a good Saturday. Get some rest for the coming week. Bye. I'll talk to you next time.